had a lot of questions on what I'll be riding in Leadville. Specialized has hooked us up with this 2023 Specialized Epic World Cup. We also have a custom paint job from Technar, pretty sweet stars and stripes. I feel like it's pretty on brand with us here at Mayhem. So we're gonna walk you through some of the cool things about it. It's not super clean because, well, I just rode it. So we're gonna bring our resident tech nerd, our bike nerd, part of the family, the Mayhem family on staff, as well as the Mayhem mountain bike text thread group, David Lane, to really explain actually everything about this. So I'm gonna give you the layman's terms, and David Lane's gonna tell you exactly what I'm saying in detail. So, one of the main things is this thing is really light. It's really fast. The frame, the shock's in line with this tube. What's that called, Dave?
Top tube.
Top tube?
Top tube.
Top tube. See, that's why we have Dave. It feels a lot, it rides a lot like, like I said, I'm gonna talk to you like somebody who just rides bikes. Dave's gonna tell you like everything about it. So this thing rides kind of like a hardtail, but has the benefits of a full suspension bike. So I have a stump jumper that is full suspension, a lot more travel. When I try to explain to people the difference, the stump jumper feels like a Cadillac and it's fast. It's like a CTS. This feels like a freaking NASCAR where it's super fast. It's a little bit more rigid, but it's fast as hell. So why?
Okay, why? So NASCAR is a great reference. Also, like Formula One would also be pretty close. It's
NASCAR.
It's full on titanium, carbon fiber, just the peak of engineering when it comes to mountain biking. So you mentioned that it rides like a hardtail, but it is a full suspension. That's due to this frame specifically. So this is a brand new bike for this year. Specialized was going after that feel, right? This is meant to be a race bike. If you were gonna ride another bike just more leisurely, like the stump jumper's where you're at, right? But the main star here is the frame. So where this differs from a typical Epic is right here in the top tube, like Rich mentioned. So the rear shock is brand new. It's just for this bike. It was a partnership with Rock Shocks. And so like your other Epic would have 100 mil travel in the back. They've shortened this down to 75, but you run it at what's called zero sag. So when you push on it,
it's pretty stiff.
It's very stiff. So it acts like a hardtail, and that's gonna really translate well to climbing and races like Leadville, right? So in order to do that, like I said, they had to come up with a brand new shock. They've moved it up into the frame, and they've also eliminated what was their brain technology for the rear shock. You still got it on the front, but in other Epics, previous Epics, there was another module back here that also, it added a little weight. It was very great, but this just brings it up a little higher, makes it lighter.
It's almost bare minimum, basically.
Bare bones, bare bones. You talked about how light it is. This one's coming in just under 23 pounds, I believe, which is getting into like road bike territory.
Yeah.
Like even like nice road bikes, like carbon road bikes, are in that like 18 to 26 range. So I mean, like they're really packing a lot into a mountain bike. You've got, like I mentioned, the frame's the real star. You do have an updated fork on the front. It's a 110 millimeter fork, which is a little more slacker than you would normally go with 100, 110, but it stabilizes you when things kind of point downhill.
Right, and you can adjust that with your the fade in the front.
Yeah, and they've updated the damper technology a little bit too, so it's gonna ride like a rigid bike when you want it to, and then open up once you get past those impact points.
Right, I've done a couple road rides, and I just locked the frame out, and I mean, it rides. I mean, I sent you that text the other day. I think it was 50 miles, right at about 4,000 feet of climbing, and I averaged 16 miles an hour, which on a mountain bike is pretty good.
Yeah, that's great. And leading into that, so a big factor there is gonna be your tires, right? So top speed, average speed, tires are always fighting to overcome the thicker tires, right? So on a road bike, 16 miles per hour average is actually really good. When you consider that you're on a full-size 20 tire, it makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, this is a Maxxis Ardent race. This was Thad at Candy Fork Bikes. He's done Leadville a couple times and recommended this tire's a pretty good balance of off-road slash, you know, there is a little bit of fire road and then some road at Leadville. So this was part of the tire combo that he says to go with. I forget what width we are, 2.35 I think on the front.
It
should, around the same in the back,
should
maybe.
be around the same. Yeah, 2.35 on the rear. So it's balanced on the front and rear. That makes perfect sense. It is a little bit less aggressive tread than you would find on our trail bikes. Right. But that helps with rolling resistance considerably. Some other great things about this bike, it has the new SRAM transmission, which is,
it's incredible. Like even, so I've got a, 2019 Epic that I've trained a lot on while this was getting painted, and going from that old SRAM to this one and then back to that other one, which the other one is incredible too. It's Bluetooth, but just having it in line and being able to shift on demand and under power, which is kind of insane for a mountain bike.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. When they first came out with this, there was a lot of questions around how it would work and especially how it mounts and things. But after seeing Rich ride this one and being able to see it up close, like I'm converted. I'm a full believer. It's incredible.
It's pretty incredible.
And the strength around it is very important too. So when you're talking about a 100-mile race, you know, that was a failure point in previous bikes where they made the hanger weaker on purpose.
Right.
So you wouldn't break your frame. Right. So eliminating that altogether kind of gives you a little more peace of mind when you're out on the trail. And you can crank on it a little harder, or if a rock hits it, or you know, like we've seen people stand on these transmissions and jump up on them and it
not have a problem. Trying to think what else. I mean, I've had a couple people ask about having a dropper post. I feel comfortable enough with my descent now, riding as much as I have, that I don't really need a dropper. We're not doing a bunch of drops, or, you know, we're doing downhills, but not dropping off of anything or anything too crazy. I don't mind not having a dropper post and getting rid of that weight, which is unnecessary. You know, all about the 100-mile race is all about as light as you can get, because that's less weight you got to carry. So, yeah, that was one of the main things. I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's pretty much it on the overview of, you know, been using the Garmin 1040, the Edge 1040 Solar.
That's right.
Solar as in climate change.
Good for the environment.
Good, yeah, that's what I was going for.
The environment. Yeah, Garmin's
been great.
Yeah, a long time. Think of it like your gauges, you know, in your race car, except the engine's your body. So you need that to be accurate.
It's been very good for me for nutrition, and just on my rides, having, like, you know, all right, where am I at in it? Where we used to ride, for so long we rode without computer whatsoever. We just ride for an hour and see what would happen and have a timer on my phone. And this has been nice to have some heads up, you know, because nutrition is going to be a big piece. We're going to do a whole day in the life of eating for that coming up. And this helps me kind of stay on top of that and make sure I'm fueled, because that's going to be one of the harder points for me, I think, fitness-wise. We're getting there, but making sure nutrition is on point and not depleting the engine. It's going to be huge.
Right, absolutely. And we dig into that more, like you said, in the day of the eating video. Nutrition's huge, because once you go over, it's hard to come back.
Yeah, you ain't coming back. I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, some other highlights on this bike. You know, you got the carbon wheels, carbon bars,
which do break.
Which do break. We found out do break. And one of the great parts of at least working on this bike, which makes it very simple, is the Bluetooth shifting. You have essentially two cables, so you have front brake, rear brake, and that makes it great. Like you said, we got it custom painted in this sweet stars and stripes. Assembling it, disassembling it, you can do it way easy.
Well, you can do it pretty easily.
But
cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Looking forward to putting it to the test.